be construed super weird. Do you know how many times I've offered to buy Kara Saunders babies? Just like, I'm like, just wrap it up. Send me that kid. I mean, the monsters that are coming, I think that's what, just keep in mind, everyone, this experiment we're all in, it's an experiment. And it has always been an experiment. And it's a living document, living experiment. And just wait. The next generation, we might just be in this weird slack time, but it's unequivocal. You cannot fake this stuff.
I'm not scared of this generation. I'm scared of the friggin' 17-year-old athletes right now.
Monsters.
Yeah.
It changes your life. I think that's why we're all so passionate about it. I mean, I started at 40, for God's sakes, and have found myself now in my very early 50s. Just make sure I got to emphasize that. That I'm in the best shape I've ever been in.
Yeah.
At 53, and that's life changing. I was talking to somebody at work about this today. And they're like, "Why do you do all this training? Why do you train? What are you training for?"
What are you training for? Yeah.
I'm like, I'm training to go to Costco and pick up a 50-pound bag of something. I'm training. I'm literally training for that eventual fall.
The injuries are coming.
Yeah,
look, I had to have my knee replaced. I may have told this story. I crashed skiing, going very fast, and put my femur through my tibia. And I did not tear anything. I had just deadlifted like 575. I was power cleaning 360. I was pretty strong. And when they went in to go finally cut my bone to do the knee replacement, they went through 3 saw blades. Why? They could not cut my femur because my bone density. And I was like, well, what's your plan for Rich Froning if he needed this? Like there's not a saw around that could possibly get through some of these women's bones. Like I'm just some middle-aged CrossFitter. And they were like, we've never seen bone density like this ever in the history of the OR. This is the head of orthopedics of UCSF. And I was like, let me introduce you to CrossFit.
Sir, would you like to step into my gym?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
It works. That's what we're training.
It does work. I love hearing these. These are my favorite stories to hear, honestly. I mean, I hope you don't ever have another scenario where you
crash,
jam one bone through another bone. Let's not do that. But those types of stories and John, you being in the best shape of your life, and friggin', I watched Matt PR lifts on his 41st birthday this week, which if you had asked him 20 years ago where he thought he would be in his very early 40s,
right,
he never would have been stronger than I've ever been in my life. Because that's not the impression that people have of aging.
I try to tell people, my dad has CrossFitted for 3-4 years now, and he'll be 80 next year, or in November. And he trains beagles to make them field champions. So they run rabbits. And he was out in the woods, and Mississippi has all these briar thickets and it's real dense underbrush. And he fell at 78 in the woods by himself, probably in the dark, knowing how early he gets up, but he's off alone and no one around him. But because he's been doing burpees for months after months after months, he knew how to pull himself over and get up from the ground. And you can't underestimate how many people in that age group die from falls.
I was going to say that could be an absolute death trap for someone else in that scenario.
And that's the beauty of CrossFit. It teaches you to go to the ground and get up. And I know it seems silly to a lot of people, but it's not when you're 78. Yeah. And when you're 50, you're training to be 70.
It's our institution. Institutions exist. They need to be torn down and remodeled. And that is a feature, not a bug.
Yeah.
So keep fighting. Keep being transparent and talk to your friends about this. Really talk. This is the call to move closer to HQ, not further from HQ. And I use HQ on purpose because I think there's CrossFit Inc. and there was CrossFit HQ. So let's move closer back to CrossFit HQ.
Is that HQ again? That was home office for a while.
It's
HQ.
It will always be HQ. Sorry.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're going to wrap up on that. Before we go, Kelly, where can people find you and all your works?
We are at the Ready State. That's it. So I need to know I'm everywhere.
And I can find all your books, all your bestsellers, all the great stuff.
Take them on the plane with you when you travel.
Love it. All right. Well, tell your wonderful wife we said hello. We should have invited her on too. I don't know why we didn't.
I know.
Oh, you'd be fired up, the CEO of a CrossFit gym. I'm just the head coach. She was the CEO. I appreciate you two very much. And listen, if you made it through all the way through this is our community. We're not going anywhere. I'm not going anywhere. And probably I'll open another gym.
I can't wait. I am so here for that. We are coming.
We are coming.
And if you tie my jump rope in a fucking knot, I'll take your finger.
Who does that thing?
Oh my God.
Savages. That's who does such a thing.
Raised by wolves.
There you go. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for listening. Happy New Year. And we will chat with you guys next week.
Welcome back to Kettlebells and Cocktails, and Happy New Year to everyone. This is the first edition of the Weekly Buzz of 2024. I can't believe I'm saying this. I don't even understand where the last year went, but as usual, I'm so very excited to be joined by Joe Jenitin-Palawa from the Morning Chalk Up. Happy New Year, Joe.
Thanks, Dickie. Happy New Year to you.
I am stoked to be able to be back from the holiday and talking about all the latest and greatest headlines from the Morning Chalk Up and all the things that we've got going on in the coming weeks, because it is kind of a busy time for all things CrossFit.
It is. I was just trying to do math in my head. Do you know how many days there are until the Open?
Oh, it starts in February, March.
It does.
Is that right? So that's less than 60 at this point, right?
It is. I don't actually, I was not able to math the days, but it is the last week of February.
That's wild. I'm not ready, but also not ready. But before we even get to how wildly unfit and unprepared I am for the Open, can we talk about, I feel like, sort of what's on everyone's minds? The year turns over. It's kind of cold and gloomy where I am in the Northeast, but you know it too. Both of our minds are sort of focused on sunny, beautiful Miami, where Wadapalooza is coming up. And so let's talk a little bit about Tier Wadapalooza and the competition and what the plan is moving forward, because that is truly right around the corner.
Yeah, it is. It really is. Well, let's talk first about the schedule for the event. So the schedule is the same for the elite divisions as it was last year. And so what I mean is that the elite individuals will compete on Thursday and Friday, and the team competition will take place over the weekend. But also remember, there are athletes that will be competing both as individuals and on teams, two of whom already listed on a very abbreviated leaderboard roster that we're going to talk about later are Pat Vellner and Travis Mayer, though.
Fun.
So already a couple who are going to opt to compete all 4 days. But again, individual first 2, team second 2 days in Miami.
Now, I got to tell you, so 2 things. First of all, this format that they do, the 3-person teams and the allowing the individuals to do both, is part of why I absolutely love watching Wadapalooza.
Yeah.
It's fun. It's so unique. You always see like matchups of teams of 3 that you wouldn't really expect, and that makes it really interesting. But also, I will say, last year when I was doing the sideline reporting and I was able to catch up with a bunch of the athletes and their coaches, I remember a number of them telling me ahead of time, like, yeah, we didn't think, like, we thought it was like a 2-day comp and then a 2-day comp, and that's just 4 days of competition. Like, that's not that much. But I remember them being like, damn, I am banged up, or I am tired, or I am sore in ways I didn't think I would be sore from double dipping, from doing both the individual and the team. So I wonder how many people sort of like, quote unquote, learned their lesson from last year, based off of, the programming and the volume or whatever, or how many people are like, it was fun, who cares, you know?
Yeah. I love the logic, and you hear this with, things like Fit Fest that just happened last month in the UK. Like, oh, well, it's an exhibition, or, it's the off season. It's kind of fun. Like, darn well that as soon as 3, 2, 1, go hits, it doesn't matter if it's a casual Saturday morning partner workout or whatever. When you're talking about the elite level competitors, 3, 2, 1, go there on the same floor. They're competing.
Yeah.
They're competing.
Yeah.
Right?
No, you're right. You're totally right. They don't know how to let off the gas, which is why we love watching them so much. But yeah, I just, when you look at it, when you're like, oh, they compete at the games for like 6 days in a row, this is going to be so easy. But then when you think about, the specific programming or the volume, or maybe they're not used to open water swimming and that really like wipes them out. Like there's just a lot going on that makes Wadapalooza really unique that these athletes are going to have to take into account. So think about that. When you're watching your favorite athletes on day 4 of competition and they've already gone through everything, remember that they might be hurting, and they're out there for our viewing pleasure. I guess I'll just say that.
Well, let's talk briefly about what you and I are going to be doing while we're there, because there have been some announcements over the holidays.
Yeah, I'm so very excited to be helping out the Morning Chalk Up team down in Miami, helping with the video coverage, kind of chatting with athletes, chatting with coaches, giving daily recaps. I think that's the best when you're unable to watch the full live stream, but you still really want to know and you want to see some cool clips and you want to hear from your favorite people. Like that's kind of going to be our goal, I think, together, is figuring out how to best get the stories in really short, easy ways to digest them if you're not able to sit and watch it all weekend.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, so I think we're super excited too to have you leading the video coverage of the event for us and getting our YouTube channel back sort of. We're going to be making some more announcements about that in the coming weeks here. I think we've got a big 2024. I can't really say a whole lot just yet, but I'm super excited about what hopefully we're going to be able to do on YouTube, and both live events and other coverage as well. So
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, good for you guys. Ooh, I can't wait. Also worth mentioning, there's going to be a whole Morning Chalk Up team, and there will be lots of additional coverage that is going to be in the newsletter. And so if you guys aren't already getting that in your inbox every day, first of all, are you living under a rock? And second of all, definitely sign up for that, because you won't want to miss any of the extreme detail that these folks will be able to go into. Really talented writers, photographers, editors, like wonderful people on staff who are going to be doing everything they can to highlight all the awesome stories throughout the entire community, not just the elites. There's going to be a lot going on down in Wannapalooza outside of just the elite competitions.
Yeah, well, thanks for saying that. We will publish all weekend, so there will be newsletters all weekend that weekend, as well as all the video content that we're going to be pumping out. So let's talk about the athletes who are going to be there that we know so far.
Okay.
Like I said, it's a small roster so far, but they're releasing new athletes, new teams a couple of times a week. On the men's side, we've already talked about Ricky Garard's incredible off-season schedule. Here he is again, competing as an individual. Guy Majeros, Nick Matthews, Pat Vellner, Travis Mayer, Brent Fikowski, and Roman Krennikov. Those are all the male athletes who are confirmed to be competing on the men's side as individuals.
Joe, I didn't hear you say Jeff Adler, did I?
Nope, you did not.
I wonder if he's going to be a late announcement, or if he's...
On the women's side right now, we've got Ariel Lowen, Danny Spiegel, Sydney Wells, Emily Rolfe, and Olivia Kerstetter. Those are the 5 that have been announced by Tier Wannapalooza. However, both Ellie Turner and Alex Kazan have mentioned that they intend to compete on social media, and perhaps I think in the team division and as individuals potentially. But those are a couple others that we have heard. So that's all we know for individuals. Teams, we've got a few teams, including one that was just announced today. We've got the Hombres running it back. Noah Olson, Chandler Smith, Tola Marquinho. Joining them, the Golden Oldies, Pat Vellner, Travis Mayer, and Will Morad teaming up. And then 2 branded teams, Team Go Wad with Justin Medeiros, Willie George, and Jay Crouch.
Okay, that is an unlikely trio right there.
And then Team Ice Barrel, Brooke Wells, Paige Powers, and Bailey Rail. So 2 training partners and Brooke Wells.
Cool. Well, that'll be very interesting. I'm excited to see Justin Medeiros back out on the competition floor.
Yeah.
Sort of conspicuously absent from the last few competitions. People wondering where he's at in his season. So that'll be fun. And in a way that, watching him in a way that is sort of like lower stakes, quote unquote, when you're on a team, seeing what he can do will be really cool.
Wannapalooza has also been announcing some workouts. The one that raised some eyebrows involves a 5K trail run off site. It's part of an event called Bike Race, which also includes everybody's favorite calories on an Echo bike to go with your 5K.
Oh,
trail run.
cardio is cardio.
And about, I believe, five workouts on both the individual and team schedules have been announced so far.
Cool. Well, it is always really exciting for me when an event gets unique with what it offers in terms of programming based off of where they are, what they can do. And so, we always see an open water swim or some kind of swim happening, and that really makes Wadapalooza special. So I'm excited to see what they can offer in terms of like location for this run.
Yeah,
or
for
what
sure.
that's going to look like in what they partner it with, or how soon or far from the swim it is. Like whatever it may be, it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, for sure. And then, of course, all the other divisions throwing down, as well as the vendor village and spectator experience, the gauntlet,